Hello friends, I told you that our journey of JavaScript projects is going to be very exciting. The second project I am going to take up with you is a JavaScript clock which you can see on screen. So now let's go into its code and build it from scratch. So first let us see its basic HTML which you are seeing on the screen. In this we have marked different divs. First you see div ID is equal to clock face, then div class equal to hours ID equal to 1. Similarly, we have given here from ID 1 to ID 12 which will mark the different hours on the clock face. And 3 divs we created with class hands and IDs hour hand, minute hand and second hand. Now I again take you to the completed project, in which you are seeing that the clock is ready and the hour, minute and second hands are doing proper function and we are seeing the proper layout of the clock. Right now our JavaScript and CSS files are blank. Now let's go back to its basic HTML and see how this HTML code will look in the browser without script and CSS. So I open this page in browser. So what was earlier a completely functional clock, now we are seeing basic HTML content in its place, without any styling, without any functionality. Now let us see how step by step we will build its styling and later add functionality to it. So to do this the first thing we need to do is build up our style sheet. So let's go to style.css. We see here in line number 6 we have linked with style.css to this particular HTML file. So let's go to style.css and start building styling here step by step. First we set the rules for the body using the body tag. So let's set the margin of the body, let's set the text align property. We set a styling for heading level 1. Font family. Color. Text shadow. After this styling, if we watch our clock, then now there is so much difference in it. Now we have to create the complete dial of the clock and also show the hour hand, minute hand and second hand on it. To do this we still have to do a lot of work in the style sheet. So I target the clock face div first, which if you want to see is the next level div after the body in HTML whose ID is clock face. So we set some style rules for the clock face division. Let's set its width and height, set the border. After doing this, when we watch the page, we can see the effect of this styling. Now we want it to be center aligned, so for that we will set margin. Again go into the style sheet, set the margins to auto, set the position, and set the background color to white. After this styling, when I see this div, I will get this div center aligned and in circular shape. Because here again you will see that I have set the border radius 50%. Now the next task is, we have to do styling for all the hours from 1 to 12. So we go to the HTML file and see that they all have class hours. We create a style rule in the CSS file to target the hours class. We have to place all the hours on the dial of the clock in a circular shape. So for that we have to do some setting through styling. Color. We have taken a variable, change with initial value 0. We take the font size a little large so that the hours are properly visible. Font weight is taken as bold. And the position is also taken absolute. After doing this, if we look at our web page, we will see that all the hours numbers are overlapping. So to place them on the face of the clock, we have to set their width and height to 100%. After doing this, we have to center align the text. And rotate and transform, we have to rotate whatever value is there in change variable. Now because the initial value in the change variable is 0 and we will not see its effect until we change its value. So what shall we do to do this? We will target all the divs here. We go into the HTML and see that they have IDs from 1 to 12. So for each we will change the value of change variable. We'll give different value. So first if I talk about ID 1 I have to rotate 30 degrees and number 2 I have to rotate 60 degrees and number 3 I have to rotate 90 degrees. We'll open the browser and see that 1, 2, 3 are properly placed on our clock face. So now let's target the next numbers in the same way. 4, 5, 6, 120, 150 and 180 degrees. If you remember in the last project we made a JavaScript wish list. I didn't discuss anything about CSS styling. But in this project I thought I should discuss some CSS so that you can understand the combined effect of CSS and JavaScript. For the next number of IDs also, we will continue to increment by 30 degrees in the same way. We will refresh the page to see the impact of this change on the project. The numbers of all the hours on the face of the clock will be seen placed where they are needed. After doing this, we now need a dot in the center and 3 hands, hour, minute and second. If we go into the HTML, we will see that there is a div with a center.id at line number 26. So we'll target the center.id and style it so that the center dot appears in the middle, and we should also see the hour, minute and seconds hands. First of all we target the hands. We will see that we have used a class to target the hands. Class equals hands. Targeting this class, we write style rules that will apply to all hands. We gave the value of change variable here as 0. The position was also set absolute. Bottom and left values were set to 50%. Set the transform origin bottom and also set the transform rotate based on the value of the rotation variable. We will change the rotation variable every second in JavaScript. According to the value of rotation variable in hours, minutes and second hands, we will see these hands on the clock face. After the transform property, we target each hand one by one. First, let's target the second hand. We need its width property to be the least, so we will take the width of 3 pixels. Height is most required, which we will take 40% of clock face. We want the background color to be red. After this we will target the minute hand. and then we'll target the hours hand. The width of the minute hand will be slightly more than that of the second hand. So let's take 5 pixels, only take the height 40% and take the background color red. Now let's style the hour hand. It needs maximum width and minimum length, so we take width 7 pixels and height 25%. The background color property will remain red. Now we set the style rule for the center.id. The width and height will be set to 25 pixels. By setting border radius 50%, position absolute, then top and right values will place it in the center. The background color will be black so that it gets highlighted on the clock face. After making this setting, when we refresh the clock by going to the browser, then we are seeing here that our content is placed in the center. For the movement of the hands, we will set up the script so that the value of the rotation variable changes every second. The seconds, minute and hour hands will rotate to varying degrees. Let us now see how to write the code in JavaScript to make these 3 hands move properly on the clock face. If you do my JavaScript tutorial in Hindi course, you will see that through setInterval method we can run a function after a time interval. 1000 milliseconds means 1 second after we want to run the function change time. Inside the function change time we will write this code which will change the value of rotation variable and set the value of rotation variable of all 3 hands based on which all 3 hands will change their position after every 1 second. Now I write the change time function definition. Before this I will call the change time function once in the last so that as soon as the file is loaded the change time function will run. After every 1 second delay, the change time function will be called and our hour, minute and second hands will move on the clock face. Now let us see what the purpose of the change time function is. We will store the current date in the datehold variable. We will convert the value in seconds that we get from this date object into % of the total rotation of 360 degrees. For example, if I get the value of 15 seconds, then 15 divided by 60 will give the value of rotation in %, which would be 0.25. Multiplying this value with 360 will give us the value of rotation in degrees. 0.25 multiplied by 360 degrees gives us a value of 90 degrees. This means that the second hand will move 90 degrees in 15 seconds. We write const split seconds equal to datehold.get seconds divided by 60. Our 2 more variables will be split minutes and split hours. If we add split seconds to the minutes returned by datehold, we will get the value of split minutes variable. If we add split minutes to the hours returned by datehold, we will get the value of split hours. And after that we will code a function called handChanger, which will accept a particular hand and set their properties by accepting split seconds, minutes and hours. So we will call this function 3 times first pass second hand and split second. Then we will pass him the minute hand and split minutes. And then we'll pass it to the hours hand and split hours. So let's code the hand changer function. The element and splitter values are passed as parameters to the function. We'll set the value of the element's rotation variable equal to splitter multiplied by 360. This will convert the fraction value of our splitter into degrees. Here I took the example of 15 seconds. The value of the splitter is 15 divided by 60, i.e. 0.25. 0.25 into 360 means 90 degrees. If we talk about second hand, the value of its rotation variable will be set to 90 degrees. Inside the style sheet you will see the transform property which will apply the rotation variable so the second hand will be rotated 90 degrees to 3 in the clock face. Similarly, the hand changer function will work for the minute and hour hands. In this way, when I set all these codes and when I refresh this clock, then this clock will become functional. See on the web page that there is something missing in the code because the clock hands did not start moving. Check errors in the JavaScript console and trace errors. We see that the error split seconds is not defined. In script.js line number 7, we see that there is a typo. Correct it. Let's refresh the clock again. If any error occurs, we will correct it. Script.js getMinutes is not a function. Let's see again, there is a typo on line number 7. I have misspelled getMinutes. Let's refresh again. Again the error is second hand is not defined. I have missed one thing. I had to point to all hand variables via document.getElement by ID. Our hand, minute hand and second hand. While working on JavaScript, we should always keep the JavaScript console open so that we can remove any error immediately. If you refresh the page, there is an error, cannot read properties of null. Let's check the error in JavaScript file and then see an HTML file. In the HTML file we see that there is a difference in the spelling of the minutes and seconds divs. We correct the spelling in the JavaScript file. Let's refresh again and see that now our JavaScript clock is working properly. We see that the 11th hour is missing on the clock face. Let's check in the HTML file. Everything looks fine here. Let's check in style sheet. Here I have given space between 330 and degrees so it is not working properly. Remove space. Refresh again in browser. Now 11 is showing properly. When we saw this clock, without JavaScript and styling, it was so bland and had no functionality. As soon as we applied the style and added the JavaScript code, it became a functional clock. The time is being updated every second and displayed on the screen. We can use this clock as a component in any project. We are going to do very exciting projects in the coming time, so stay connected with the channel. If you like this video, then hit the like button, subscribe the channel and click the bell icon to get future video updates. Happy coding, friends!